Unless you've been living under a rock for the past few months, you will have heard of ChatGPT. Now, ChatGPT has a range of different ways of trying to help you make a profit online if you know how to use it. And what I've thought to do today is to give it a test. Can you actually use this to make money online when everyone is doing the exact same thing? So let's get into exactly what I've done with ChatGPT to try and generate a profit. So as you'll have saw in the thumbnail and in my hand right now, I've been using ChatGPT along with another bit of AI software to basically write storybooks. It's something I saw on TikTok and I thought that looks really nice and easy to do, so we'll give it a try and see if it makes any profit. I wanted to make it so it was something that didn't cost anything to start with, so that it wouldn't have any outgoings if it didn't work. And I wanted something that was going to be nice and easy to do as well, something I might even enjoy, so that if it ends up not generating any profit at all, it hasn't been completely wasted time. So as you can see over here on the Kindle Direct Publishing, we've got two books up. We've got Betfair Trading for Beginners and The Little Striker. The Little Striker is the one I've got in my hand right here, and it's a full storybook. The edges are a bit weird, but this was just a print copy, so I've managed to fix them edges, and it even told me about the edges as well during the processing stages, so it has been fixed. So if you did buy a copy of that now, these edges wouldn't exist. It will be absolutely fine. But it's essentially just a book about a young lad who wants to play football. The other book on here is all about the basics of Betfair trading, and both of these were written through ChatGPT. So if I just quickly take you over to ChatGPT here, you can see we've got the little striker over here in the left hand side. It's one of the previous prompts, and what I'm going to do today is just show you the journey it takes to go from getting the idea from ChatGPT, getting literally all the words you need to put into the storybook, how I generated the images, and then how I uploaded the book. Now, it's very simple. Everything is step by step, and it doesn't take too much effort at all. So what I'm going to do, because I know these two here won't be enough to sell, but I'll show you how many sales we've had already in a few moments. Because what I did was I built this book back in December, because I wanted to have a few months of having something like that had no adverts, nothing on it, just to see if it would actually sell on Amazon or if it was going to be a waste of time. And we did get some sales, which is why I've now gone on the storybooks. Now what I'm going to do over the course of the next few weeks and months, in fact probably even before you see this video, I'm going to go through and make as many of these books as I can. One of the things I had to pay money for was Midjourney, the AI image generation prompt. I was happy to do that because I'm going to be using it on other projects as well, but I only want to pay for it for 1 month. So over the course of this next month, I'm going to use and abuse that software. I'm going to get as many storybooks as I can. I'm aiming for 20, and then I'm going to aim for 10 other books as well that are kind of like that Betfair Trading for Beginners, where we can really see which one is the better seller. So I'm going to really fill out this library, and to be honest, at the end of this video, depending on when this video is coming out, I might quickly take you through my whole library and updated sales figures as well. But let's just get straight into it. So over on ChatGPT, I'm going to ask it for a kids book. So just give me a basic story outline. So here we go. We've now got a rough idea of a kids book. We're going to have a plot, we're going to have the setting the scene, we're going to have everything. It's going to take us through absolutely everything amongst this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask it to split it up into chapters. I only want it to be 5 chapters at the most, because it's a kids book. We don't want it to be too long. It's just going to be a storybook, and this looks as if it's writing a pretty hefty book. So the next step I'm going to do, I'm not even going to read any of that. I'm going to just be okay with that. We're going for Sammy the Snail. And then I'm going to just simply ask it to summarize this into 5 chapters. It's then literally going to give us the 5 chapters. Paid attention to this. It's about a snail and a squirrel. It's going to be interesting to see how the AI generates the art for this one. But we've got our five chapters there. And I'm literally just then going to type in, and this one's probably the most important bit, but it's really simple to remember. But I'm going to ask it to write chapter 1 in rhyme. Asking it to write it in rhyme is going to give it in verses, which is very important for when you're doing a storybook, because ideally on the storybook you're just going to want 1 page at a time with a few lines on it. So this might take a few seconds to do it because it needs to think about how to make things actually rhyme and things like that. But we're going to end up having this sort of outlook. But what it's going to do now is it's going to give us just basically the first chapter in rhyme. I'm then going to ask it for chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4 and chapter 5, and we'll come back there. But I'll just let it do chapter 1, and then I'll show you how we then generate the images for this book, and then we will look at how I use Canva to put these images and the words together, and then it literally will just be a case of you dragging and dropping that PDF onto the Amazon e-Kindle page. It'll tell you if you need to make any changes, and then your book will be ready to go. Now, you may get errors sometimes on ChatGPT. Don't worry about it. It's going to happen from time to time. Sometimes there's just too many people using the site. You can press regenerate if you want and see what happens, but sometimes that causes even more issues. But I'm literally just going to ask it to redo chapter 1, and then hopefully it'll go through this a bit quicker. There is ChatGPT Plus, which will prioritise you over other users, but I'm happy to just use this for the time being. But I'll come back when chapter 1's done. And there we go. It was literally a few seconds later. I might not even cut away for that. But you see, this is chapter 1. There once was a snail named Sammy who loved to explore and be happy. He dreamed of adventures far and wide and seeing the world from side to side. So we've got our first chapter here of our book. Each one of these is going to be a page in our book. And what we're going to do is use this Midjourney prompt. Now, Midjourney is an AI generation tool for images, and it's used through Discord. So you can see here, these were all the images I generated for my football book. Now, you're going to get some weird books. I wanted the striker going to bed in a bedding that was covered in footballs, and you can see it didn't really give me any of that. I can't actually remember which image I used for that one. In fact, it was this one. As you can see, it's been enhanced. Some of the images are going to be weird, but that's why you focus on it being a kid's book, because the images aren't too bad. As long as the images are relatable and look okay, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get any complaints on a kid's book. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new channel over here, and we're going to call it Sammy the Snail. But when it comes to Midjourney, you need to write a prompt. So you just simply need to type /imagine and then put in whatever image you want. So it makes it very easy to do, but there's loads of different styles you can use. There's loads of different lighting you can use, and if you use a prompt tool such as this one, it's literally just going to allow you to type in your idea, move around all your prompts and lights and colors and everything like that, and really get you a nice generated tool. So I'm going to write this about Sammy the Snail, so we're going to try and find a description. So I'm literally going to ask ChatGPT for a description of Sammy the Snail. So I'm asking it to describe Sammy the Snail, and it's literally going to give us this. So it's not really giving me much description on what he actually looks like there, so I'm just going to have to go with the fact that he's a snail. So he's a snail and he meets Sally, who is a squirrel. So I'm literally going to put cartoon snail and squirrel with backpacks on walking together. I'm going to have a little fiddle around with the styles and the lighting and everything like that, and we're going to see what this generates back. I want this to be the cover. I basically want a cover picture of them two walking together down maybe a forest or a path or in a park, something like that, to be our main image. I'll then get the first image of chapter 1 and show you how we can add them all together. So we've got the prompt, so I'm just going to press copy this prompt over, go to Midjourney and paste this in, and then press enter. And then what it's going to do is it's going to start generating this item for us. So I literally just need to leave this now. It can sometimes take a while, it sometimes takes a few seconds, sometimes it takes a few minutes. But it's going to give us 4 options to choose from here, and then we're just going to choose which one we like. So we're going to see what these two look like. I'm going to guess that they're not going to look great. The first images never are, but you can literally just keep feeding the same prompt in, and it will improve on the images that you're doing. Now it looks like we're actually getting some okay images here. We're nearly done, so we're going to see exactly what we've ended up with, and let's just have a look. So we've got, I mean, it doesn't really look like a snail though, does it? That one looks cool, but he's the backpack, so it's not going to work very well for this. But let's just get it to generate again, and we'll keep getting it to generate this and see exactly what happens. So again here, we've got images that look really nice and cool. Like the squirrels, I'm loving the squirrels, but the snail just isn't there. I'm wanting a shell on the back, so I'm going to put big, bright cartoon snail with shell on back and squirrel, and I'm going to put going on an adventure. Just because I think it was the backpack that's messing this up. I think it's the backpack that is taking away the shell for the squirrel, for the snail. So hopefully this now is going to give us a shell on the snail, and it's going to make it look like they're going on an adventure, which is exactly what we want. So we'll see how this one goes. And this is basically all you need to do, a bit of trial and error. But I mean, any of these pictures are high quality enough for you to be able to do it. I don't quite know how any of these are snails, but the squirrels are coming through really nice. And again, we're not really getting the images that we want here. You can see we're getting a snail now that is kind of okay, but the squirrel's now missing. Because that's not a squirrel. I don't know what that is, but it's not a squirrel. Let's stop it being a cartoon. So you can see here, this is giving us a bit more realistic. But again, there's no squirrel there at all. So I think, in fact, I have no idea what we'd have to do with this, because it's not wanting to generate a snail and a squirrel together. And we're trying to go very basic and put snail stud with a squirrel, and we'll see what happens with that. But I don't think we're going to be able to generate one here. But if this is the case, and you just genuinely can't find good images, it took a whole of 2 seconds to get this idea, and it took 4 prompts there to get us to where we are at the moment on ChatGPT. If it's not working very well with the images, just scrap the idea and go get another one. I'm going to have to do this a lot over the course of the next few weeks, but it's not the end of the world. Like, this isn't at all what I asked for. I have no idea what's going on with this. I mean, that's a giraffe. I don't know what that is, but it's very interesting. If it comes down to it, if you can't get a snail stud with a squirrel, you can always just change the script on here and literally say change the squirrel. So there, what I've done there is literally it wasn't working having a squirrel and a snail, so I've just said change the squirrel to be a young girl, rewrite chapter 1, and as you can see, it's done. He met a girl named Sally whose hair was curly and quite tally. Interesting words, but again, it's AI, you're going to have issues. But now we just need to get a young girl stood with a snail. So that one's hopefully going to be a lot easier to do. But then again, that's apparently a snail stood with a squirrel. So who am I to know and judge? But we're going to see what happens with this one. Hopefully one of these will be worthwhile using. If not, we'll just use it anyway and then go forward. I think I might have been trying to go too over the top with the cartoons. As you can see with this definitely isn't what I wanted. So I'm going to go imagine young, happy girl. You don't want a depressed looking girl on the cover of our storybook. But I've reduced the cartoon aspect down from 5 down to 0.2. So hopefully it's not going to be as bad of a over-exaggeration, shall we say. And that one's better. I mean, it's not incredible. She is the snail there, and the snail's apparently her hair there, but this one in the bottom left is probably the closest we're going to get. So you'd go upscale number 3. You're then going to want to use a site such as Canva, and as you can see, I dragged in the background for when I was doing this book that I've got behind me. I added in the text myself, and then I literally would just go through line by line on this code here, and I would copy it over. So if I just quickly show you how this works, we've got our upscaled image getting generated down here. So let's say, for example, that we were making this page here the first page of our new book. So let me just make a copy so I don't ruin the original, and let's just get rid of this background. I'd always recommend you keep the same font and stuff there, just because it's going to make it 100 times easier for you when you're copying things over. But let's get this first section over here copied over, and as you can see, that's now our book. Now there is going to be dimensions that you need to use when you're toying around with Amazon, but don't worry, you'll learn them as you go. You can see here ours are kind of in the middle, so that's all you need it to really be, just in that square there. So as long as we get our font within that square, we're going to be good to go, and that's that simple. So we've got that all done now. There once was a snail named Sally who would love to explore and be happy. So now all we're going to do is copy that over, but what we need first of all here is this image. Don't know what that little guy is in the bottom left, but hey ho, I'm going to open this in a browser and I'm going to get this URL copied. Now I'm going to put this over into here and go /imagine. I'm going to put that URL, and then I'm going to put this paragraph. And what that's going to do when I press enter is it's going to first of all give us a shortened link, which I'm going to copy over, copy that link, and I'm going to stick that over in this module over here at the start. So then we've got our prompt ready. Having a URL in this will allow Midjourney to look at that style and try and copy what's going on. So it will try and keep the same theme of what's going on in that book. It's what I use to try and keep it similar in the other book, but it's not going to work 100% of the time. As you can see, the snail is changing a bit, but that one there in the top left is looking the same. So then I'd upscale that one in the top left, and then I would literally grab that picture. As you can see, this one's here, so I'm going to save it to my desktop. I'm going to come over to uploads, upload the file, and I'm just going to drag that across in the background of that image, and that's all you do. And literally, now that you've got that prompt of the image URL in here, all you need to do is just go down, copy over the next section, paste it in there, and then whack it over into Midjourney bot. And literally just do that for every single paragraph within the book. If you get 4 prompts you don't like, you press refresh and just keep going. Adjust it if you've got any specific ideas of what you want the book to be like. But as long as you've got that URL there, it should keep a similar style to what's going on. And if you can try and get it to learn what's going on within the book, then you can actually get it to learn the names of the characters, and it'll make it 100 times easier to generate stuff in the future. You can see here we're getting a bit of a weird selection on this next one, but we've now got Sally, who's going to be our main character. These snails are a bit funky, but you can see it does kind of look similar to that one we had. He just doesn't have a shell anymore. So we've got our options there. And then if you wanted to make sure that this Sally was kept correct, you can copy over that image URL and keep that going, and so on. But obviously this one wouldn't work too well, because as we can see from this one, I suppose she's got a hat on there, so it could be either of them. I mean, that face does look very similar to that one, so it does keep it consistent. Just make sure that you're keeping it going throughout. You might want to Photoshop on like a shell there or something if you were being really specific with it. But that is literally all you're going to do. You're going to do that for every chapter, every paragraph. You're going to come over here to share on Canva, and then you're literally just going to press download and download it as a PDF. And then all you're going to do is come over to Kindle and do create your book, upload that, upload the title cover, which you'll need to do separately over on here anyway, which you can see I did that in this instance. And then you're just literally going to go through the process on Amazon. It will tell you if the font is too big, it will tell you if it's too small, it will tell you if you can't read it, it will tell you if they're not within the dimensions. It will give you step-by-step instructions on what to do and what to change. And then you set up your price. I've gone with $9.99 on here. I think I'm going to reduce that to maybe $5.99. The Betfair trading for beginners was at $9.99. This has been up for only about 2-3 weeks now, and it hasn't had a sale yet, but the Betfair for beginners has had 2. Now I only get £1.30 or something like that. You can see here 1 unit sold there, and there was 1 unit sold in like the 3rd day of it being up in December. So there's going to be instances where you just don't get sales. Didn't get a single one during January, but then I got another one randomly during February. I haven't had any sales on the books yet, the storybook, but that's why I'm going to make a load of them. And what I'll do, because this video isn't coming out until the end of May, I believe, so what I'll do, considering it's the 8th of March, is I'll give you an update at the end of May with how much we've done. I only have March available to do and use Midjourney, so I'll have 20 plus books, possibly 30-40 books up on Amazon, and I'll have had them up for a month, so we'll get to see how much that generates. But from now on, I never need to touch these 2 books ever again. That's it done, and they are generating what is called as a true passive income, because we've done all the work and now we're reaping the rewards, hopefully. But we'll come back in a month's time. We'll see what mental things we've got. If I get any more weird and wonderful photos like any of these, I still would love to know what on earth it thinks that is down there in the bottom left. But and that guy in the top right. But we'll come back to this in a month's time, and I'll show you just at the end of this video right now how much we've managed to make. So it's the end of the month now, and we're looking back on the ebooks, and I left it and didn't make a single other ebook because what I wanted to check was, does this book actually sell? If it sold even just 1 copy, I was then going to go ahead and make the rest of the ebooks. But I thought, what's the point in flooding the market with about 30-40 storybooks if they're not actually going to sell? We know the other style of books down here sell, the ones where there's a market specifically looking for that book, but I didn't want to push out the storybook one if they weren't getting the traffic, because I know quite a lot of people are doing this now, so I didn't know if it would sell. So let's go to the reports tab and see how much we made, and you can see we made absolutely nothing. Not a single person went on it. We lowered the price from, I think it was up at $9.99, we've lowered it to $6.99. I'm going to lower it again to $4.99 and just see what happens. Obviously it's going to be hard because there's no one searching for this book. No one knows it's out there. No one's specifically looking for this. I've put loads of good keywords into the description, into the title. Everywhere I can put keywords and tags I have. But obviously it's going to be hard to get this ranked in the market. So I think maybe storybooks isn't the way to go when you're helping with AI and generating books. But getting books like this, where we have something, Betfair trading for beginners, the likelihood of someone searching for that on Amazon is slim. But if they search for it, it's my book that's going to show up. And that's why we were able to get them 2 sales on that book, because it's a niche market and it's focused in. So if you're going to go down the route of helping creating ebooks through the use of AI, make sure you focus in on some niches. Focus in on something that people will be searching specifically for. Yep, making the storybooks is fun and they look good once you've got one, but the likelihood of someone buying that is quite slim unless you are promoting that yourself. If you just want some traffic to go to your books naturally, then you need to be focusing on the niche, and that's what we're going to do. As you guys know, I update everyone on the channel with how much I'm earning every couple months. So if you want to keep an eye out on the channel to see how many more additional books of these we make and how much we generate over the next year or so, then keep an eye out on the channel. But let me know if you've made any books or ebooks, or how I can get that book ranked on Amazon. Let me know all down in the comments. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching it. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching this fail. And hopefully you've enjoyed the honesty behind it, because it's not always as easy as it seems. But thank you for watching. See you next time.